Welcome back, welcome to new. My name is Mark, and today we're back with another episode of Wistoria Wand and Sword Season 2. This is episode 10, and where we last left off at the end of last episode, we got to see Will finally supposedly learn how to use the power of Whis, the fifth element or whatever it's called. And they are gonna barely make it in the nick of time. Will almost died. We got to relive him almost dying, which not great. Damn, it was dark, bro, the way he almost died, man. But that's not what matters. What matters now is that they're on their way to make it to the second bloom just in time. And I am very excited to talk about this episode, man. But as always, you can check out the Patreon down below for the reaction to episode 10 of season 2. Go check it out, become a member. You get a shout out if you so. Prices are lower. And come back here for the review. But with that said, if you're new here, strap in. If you've been here before, you know what to do. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your notebooks, because as always I took quite a bit of notes, not as much, and let's talk about the episode. So, this episode was really good. At first though, we actually start out with Elfaria. She's reflecting on the so-called curse that she put on Will, aka the promise that she made with Will. That's the curse that she's concerned about. I won't say complaining, but no, she's concerned about it. And she is also reflecting on how much suffering the curse or the promise has caused him, because to be fair, it has caused him quite a bit of heartache, man. Genuinely, man. I don't ship the two, but I do respect Will's dedication to catching up to her and being with her. I do respect that. I don't ship them personally. I think Will has far more chemistry with like Sion, Julius, Rosti. Although the Rosti is contentious, I know. But Julius and Sion, I see it more. Especially Julius, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, I also asked the question, what exactly was stopping Elfaria from like doing more to be with Will in some way? Because like we know like the letters and all that, those are stopped, I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm thinking something different, but I'm pretty sure like her letters were stopped. But she's strong in her own right. Like, is there something physically stopping her from leaving to go see Will? Like, yeah, like they have to maintain the like thing or whatever as a Magiavander, but like genuinely, is there something like that stops her from physically going somewhere? Or what? Because I think if there's nothing stopping her physically except for the fact that she has like an obligation, then I think she's kind of, that's kind of on her. If she's upset about Will being hurt and all that, if she like is choosing not to go when she could. But that's not important right now, for now. But anyways, moving on. We're also reminded that Will hates himself. Which we've already learned that last episode, especially last episode, man, and probably a few episodes before that as well. We learned Will hates himself a lot, man. Poor guy. He's been through so much. He almost died as a kid, almost lost his childhood best friend, and then now he spent the last like 5-6 years in school being ridiculed, mocked, and hated by everyone. Like, damn, man, he has it rough. Then, also, we cut to a different scene of Workner being there, surrounded by all his friends that were already accepted, aka Liana, Colette, Sion, and Wignall, and they all want to help Will. They don't want to just leave him be, especially Wignall. He doesn't want to leave Will yet, which I thought was really sweet. I also see chemistry between them too, if we're being honest here. But we also learned that Workner, despite the tough act he might put on, he's also been very worried. Because according to Miss Clary, who told Colette, Workner's been, like, insisting on trying to see Will, and he's getting turned away every time. But, like, I like Workner, man. He's a good guy. He just wants what's best for Will, which is all that matters at the end of the day. And then, but before people can get too far ahead, Sion, of all people, which in the moment might be surprising, but when you think about it, it's really not. He's actually the one who stops them from going on ahead and like getting involved. And he turned into, in his own way, obviously, in his own way, he turned into one of Will's biggest supporters, and he stops the others. I wrote this down. He stops the others from basically, from what's that word say? He stops the. I had the right kind of small. He basically stopped them from going into taking up Will's spotlight, which fair. That's fair, man. Because Sion, he believes in Will that he can do it, and I believe in Will too, man. Kind of have to because he's the main character, but that's besides the point. Meanwhile, moving on, the second bloom starts, and everyone that hasn't been accepted is getting accepted. The like Emma Clever, she's accepted into the Wind faction, I believe. Mike Myers is being accepted into the Dark faction, and then Sion's two followers slash friends, they've been accepted into the Fire faction, and Sion was like, about damn time. I don't think he said the damn part, but he said about time, which fair enough, because like even in his own way, Sion probably does care about them too, beyond them just being like his followers or lackeys or whatever. Which I'm glad that Sion has grown quite a bit, just like Julius. And Kreutz, of course, he's here. He's in problem. He has a problem with Will, of course, still. But Will and Julius, they aren't there yet. They're gonna get there just in the nick of time, obviously. But then Kreutz is just like, since clearly they aren't here, they must have failed to come up with a plan and ran away. And sure, technically, from it, I could see maybe Will running away. Maybe. Not really. But like, okay, in a world where I'm seeing more from Kreutz's perspective, I could see a world where Will, of all people, might want to run away or might not be ready. But Julius, I don't know how Kreutz can assume that Julius would also run away. Because Julius, of all people, from all the people we know, Julius doesn't willingly run away usually. From what we've seen. He's stubborn, very, very stubborn, bro. Just like Will, but in different ways. So like, yeah. Anyways, they made it just in time, just barely. And Elfaria's happy. People are happy that they made it. And as the test continues, Kreutz summons those two mage created creatures. I don't remember what they're called, honestly, but the test is the same. Kill them, and so that's why. Anyways, the test is the same, to kill them, but Will is a little he's ready, but he's probably a little nervous still, probably. And Julius, he's wondering, is that guy gonna be okay? Maybe I should secretly help him without getting caught. And honestly, like, yeah, we know that Julius is doing this partially because he's like selfish and wants to get on Elfaria's good side, but the fact that he's even willing to consider the idea of helping him again, like this, unprompted, might I add. It's not like he was asked to help. No, he's unpromptingly off considering to help. But before he can do anything, Elfaria accepts him into the Ice faction, and she's like, leave it to Will, don't do anything, don't interfere, you just gotta trust him now. And Julius is like, he grumbles a little bit, but ultimately he's accepted. Elfaria's happy now that Will is there. Of course she's happy. And she's smiling and all that. And yeah, that's what happens. And then moving on. Where are we? I gotta figure out where we are now. And so Julius leaves because he gets accepted and all that. And then Will is recalling the power. Basically, I'm simplifying the scene. You can go see my full reaction over on Patreon for it. But he actually, he recalls the power, calls it to use, and I got goosebumps throughout the entire scene. I say it in the reaction as well. Highly recommend you check it out. I got full-on goosebumps, bro. That was such a good scene. And, seeing the power being used as well was really, really cool. And, he uses the ability, the spell, whatever, called Tierdes Weiss Reload. That sounded cool. And moving on, Will also at some point, I don't remember exactly when this is, because I didn't take notes for every single moment like I usually do. I took notes mainly at the big stuff. So at some point, Will was thinking about all that Elfie has done for him, and about the promise that they made. And he's like, now it's my turn to catch up to you, to fulfill my end of the deal, sort of thing. And so he's moving on, slowly doing his thing. And then Sarah Dwen, I still can't pronounce her name, man. Sarah Dwen, she's sitting in the bleachers by herself, and Finn comes up, and he's like, I decided to leave this to you, Headmistress Cauldron. And I shit you not, during when we first met Sarah Dwen, I'm pretty sure in the same episode that we met her, I made the theory. I didn't expect it to be true, but I made the theory that that Sarah Dwen was the headmistress, just in a different form. I didn't think I was right, bro. I genuinely did not think that I was right. I thought I'd be like way off base in some capacity. And the funny thing is, for those of you who do not know, I have read the manga up to a certain point. I stopped, I think, around like chapter 30, chapter 40. I don't remember much that happens. I remember certain points. This part, I don't remember at all. So the fact that this is like brand new to me, and the fact that I even got this theory right, was hilarious to me in the moment. I laughed quite a bit in that reaction, bro. That was funny. And if I did this right, you'll see like some previews from the reaction at the beginning of the video. But turns out Saridon is just in another form, and Finn calls her the ageless witch and all that. And like, I mean, fair enough. Meanwhile, moving on, Kreutz, he's pissed. Everyone's impressed by Will, which that goes without saying. And even some of the people are like, he's not a dwarf. Oh, he's not a dwarf. He did it, man. And I also thought the sword was really cool, because the sword like expands as it uses his magic, and then it's like disbands, like shrinks down and closes up when it's not being charged with magic. It just looks so cool, bro. Meanwhile, Kreutz, of course, he's not going down without a fight. And honestly, I can respect the fact that he's still not going down without a fight. He calls into question the fact that Will is an unknown and that his sword is not a wand, because usually, for the Blooms, the rules are that you can only have wands. But then someone else brings up the question of, but if we consider the sword his wand, and that does bring up the question of, the fact is, he is using a sword, not a wand. So yeah, but then he's like, should it be allowed? And the sword and wand stuff, that's not what I'm talking about here. But what I'm about to say is, with a caveat of, I'm just looking at the other side. Kreutz isn't exactly wrong with the fact that Will is an unknown, and that it is dangerous to have him. Because Will being an unknown to how his power even works is, as I said, dangerous. Like, we don't know if his power is something, hypothetically, that could just one day explode out of him and kill everyone. We don't know that, because we don't know how his power truly works. We also don't know if his power is something that Will can control completely, always, or if it's something that can corrupt him or take him over. Like, and again, as I mentioned before, I don't blame Kreutz's desire to... Okay, I kind of blame him, but also I can't completely blame him and his desire to dissect Will in order to standardize the power so that more people can use it, more mages, and it can become something that can be used to help the greater good and just help more witches or mages or whatever become more like useful and more like organized and stuff like that. He's not wrong for thinking that. Genuinely, I still stand by that 100%. He is not wrong for thinking it. Where he is wrong, however, is wanting to dissect Will. That's wrong to an extent, but I've also said that at one point I did say also in another review that dissections do happen in science from what I've heard and read. So I mean, it's not out of the ordinary per se, just he's a person this time instead of a lab rat. But like, I mean, I've also brought up the point that honestly, if you like asked Will to work with you to do like a humane like humane experimentation on him, he'd probably say yes if you mention it's for the greater good, and with a caveat of like having like worker there to like watch over and make sure nothing goes wrong and nothing goes too far. Like I think Will would actually genuinely be down to work with Kreutz and stuff on that. Maybe not Kreutz this time, but like someone like that. Genuinely, if I'm being honest here. Meanwhile, he's not giving it up. But Kreutz, he also is convincing some people. They're like, he's not exactly wrong, and that's true. But then Thor Zeus, Zeo, is like, yo, he jumps up and he's standing on a railing. He's like, there's one easy, simple way to prove this. And he charges up an attack. And he's like, if you survive this hit, one hit, I'll serve as your proof. And I mean, hey, as long as he stares, as long as he serves as his proof, that's really what matters, man. And as we see it, Will, he survives. He manages to be like, yo, I can't dodge it, but if I don't do anything, I'll be obliterated. So he absorbed half of it and then took the other half. His insides are fried, according to Finn. Which, damn, this guy, Will definitely has a unusually high pain tolerance. And I say unusually because it'd be unusual for most people probably, but for him it's probably the norm because of what he's been through, what he's done. And so like, yeah, but he does that, and he Zeo acknowledges his Will. Straight up, he just acknowledges him. He's like, yo, I acknowledge you. And I also mentioned how cool it is that Will's eyes change color to the color of whatever the element is that he absorbed. Like they were yellow because of lightning, but then they go back to his usual color. I just thought that was a really cool effect. And eventually though, unfortunately, for people, Kreutz is threatened into accepting Will, because they was like, yo, that means if Will can do it, you can do it too, right, bro? And Kreutz is scared. Fair enough. And no preparation and all that. I mean, I don't blame him for being a little scared there. And he backed up and he's like, I accept Will. But then I also asked the question, how long will that last? Because you can only threaten someone into complying for so long before they are like, they have enough and they like think of something. I genuinely don't know how long Kreutz will stay threatened for, but I don't think this will be the last we see of him. I hope it's not. Genuinely, because I do actually, hot take, I actually like Kreutz as a character. I think he serves as a good antagonist in the same way I thought Edward served as a good antagonist. The difference, however, is that Edward did it because he's kind and wanted to spare Will the suffering that he went through. Whereas Kreutz, his reason for being the antagonist is because he wants to learn and know more about the power and then standardized it into more widespread use. I actually like Kreutz as a character, and I do hope we see him again. Meanwhile, Elfie finally hugs Will, and that's sweet, I guess. It's so hard to be invested in their relationship when we haven't seen anything of them, really. Sure, we've seen them think about each other occasionally when they're not together, and we saw some stuff when they were younger, but like, we don't have a connection to those two together as they're in their dynamic the same way we do for like Will and Rosti, Will and Julius, Will and Sion. Even Will and Colette have more. We've seen more from those two, even though I don't personally like Colette at all. I just don't like her. She's just not an entertaining character to me. Speaking of Colette, after Elfie hugs Will, Colette's pissed, bro. Damn, man. And the reason she's pissed though is because I didn't mention this, but she doesn't think Will should have to be cursed by Elfie like this. And Elfie agrees, but at least there's that. But yeah, Colette's pissed, and so Will is now given the opportunity to join the faction. He's now recruitable, and so he's like, I'm gonna join Elfie's faction. But before he can fully say the word faction, he's grabbed by Zeo, and Zeo's like, "Yo, I'm taking him." Straight up, just doesn't, no preamble. He's just like, "Yeah, he's mine now. I'm taking him, bro. Thanks." And basically, Zeo, Elfie, of course, disagrees greatly. But Zeo's like, "Yo, I'm taking him." And then we learn that his personal code is, you cannot shackle desire. Riches, alcohol, women, or guys, he wants them, he takes them. And honestly, at least he's inclusive. He was called a barbarian, but at least he was inclusive. So there's that. But he just wants will. It's as simple as that. And that's where the whole thing ends. Because of course it does, man. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. So, with that said, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Let me know your thoughts on the comments down below. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode was, favorite part of my review. Answer my questions if you have any answers that you have for in response to any of the questions I've asked, theories I've given, stuff like that. Patreon's down below for the full reaction over there. And yeah, tiers are lower as always. And yeah, like, subscribe, the notification bell, hype the video. And until next time, my name is Mark. Never stop being yourself. Stay safe out there, and I will see all you incredible people in the very next video.